There's a crazy revolution happening with 3D Gaussian splatting right now. In just recent few months, we got incredible releases of open source local models and tools to generate and process 3D.js. We have world models and object models that allow image to 3D.js. We have solid CLI tools to create colliders super fast and easy. And we finally can bring it to Unreal Engine, and that's gonna work and not ruin your FPS. As usual, I spent some time doing some tests, figuring it out, and I have a lot to show you. From what plugin to use to bring 3D.js to Unreal Engine, to how to process it quick and easy, where to get them, and how to generate them locally and absolutely for free. Kindly hit that like button and let's get started. So let's start with the first question: how to bring 3D.js to Unreal Engine and make them render as they are. So you already might know that Unreal Engine by default doesn't support splat files, .ply files, etc. So we're gonna need plugins. There are plenty of options, really, some very small experimental, but I tested 3 most popular, and here is the full breakdown on them. So I'm talking about MLSLabs Gaussian Splatting renderer. This is a Chinese company, and this plugin is about 3D.js, and also it supports 4D.js. Basically capture its sequence of splats, which is actually cool. Another plugin called XVerse, and the most recent is NanoGS. So which one we actually choose? Let's start with XVerse engine. So this one was good a while ago, probably one of the first, and it has quite a lot of stars on GitHub, but it's not updated for quite a while. And if we go to releases, it only supports Unreal Engine 5.5, and I already work in 5.7, and I'm about to switch to 5.8 for new projects 100% because the updates are crazy. So this one we skip because of Unreal Engine version. Next one, we do have MLSLabs. On their GitHub page, they say that they only support 5.5, but that's not true. If we go to the releases and let's say we want the pro version or light version, we go to Google Drive, we can see that there is 5.7 version available as well, which is fine, and I did test it. And here you can see there is a pro version and light version, and that's actually important thing to notice because they are different, and here we can see the difference. And here in release notes, we can spot one important difference, that pro version basically supports SOG format, and the light version only work with .ply version. If you don't know, quick recap: ply is sort of raw format for splatting. SOG is highly compressed version, which saves a lot in weight. There are also SOG like that, and also SPZ. SOG is compressed version and is definitely becoming new standard, so it's a bit unfair to only have it in pro version. The funny thing is that you cannot buy it right now. They basically allow you to try it out, but there will be a watermark in Unreal Engine. So pro version only available for testing, not really to buy right now. Other than that, you can use light version if you want to work with 3D.js or you want to try 4D.js. Again, that's actually becoming popular and can have quite cool use cases. I actually tested, we're gonna compare it with NanoGS right away. And since the one left is NanoGS, you might guess this is my choice right now, and that's true. First of all, it is easier to install. It is built in mind of recent Unreal Engine versions such as 5.7, so there is no issues whatsoever. Also, it has more stars, translated to English better, and it's supported. So mainly I'm gonna use NanoGS. And to make it easier for you guys, all this information we're gonna also put in the article with all the links in the description absolutely for free. Let me first show you how to install MLSLabs, just so you know the difference and why NanoGS is easier. So here they do have quite detailed guide. So let's say we only work with SOG and we need 4D.js. First thing we need to do, we're gonna go to releases and find the version that we need. Let's say you want to go pro, which I did. We're gonna go to Google Drive and we're gonna need to get zip with your version. Now this plugin is installed in engine folder, so you're gonna need to go to program files, Epic Games, find the right version of Unreal Engine that you use, go plugins and put it into folder named Marketplace. If you do not have that folder, you're gonna need to create that folder and then zip that folder there. Now when that's done, restart your Unreal Engine, go to plugins, and you'll be able to find MLSLabs renderer, which you need to enable, and immediately you're gonna see that it requires to restart. So press reset, and right away when it's opened, you're gonna need to install dependencies. You either click on this pop-up on the bottom, or there will be a button here on on top bar that will install the dependencies. It will look something like this. It will install PyTorch and stuff. After it's installed, you need to restart it. It might fail automatically restart, so just restart it yourself. And then when you go to Unreal Engine, you're gonna have these two buttons on top: import single or import multiple. To be honest, multiple doesn't seem to work, so I always use this one. So let's try it out actually. So as I installed Pro version, I must be able to upload SOG, not only Ply. And for that, I'm gonna go to Super Splats, and since these berries bring me luck, I'm gonna do it again. So huge credits to Danny Bittel, doing these awesome scans. I really enjoy these berries. So on Super Splats, you can actually download some for free in exchange of mentioning, etc. So if I'm gonna press download, you can immediately see there are two formats available: Ply, which gonna wait around 300 megabytes, and SOG, which is only 2294 megabytes. So the difference in size is quite noticeable. Great. Now back to Unreal Engine, gonna press this button and find my Strawberry SOG. Boom, and it's already imported. We're gonna go to Content, MLSLabs render, MLSLabs render Strawberry, and here we have this blueprint created. This is how it looks here. I can just drag and drop this guy here. The move control is usually hidden behind the size, but yeah, but it looks great actually. And yeah, I can actually hit play button and we can run around this berry and it looks quite good. I of course gonna tell you how to create collision and stuff, and you can also see this watermark. This you cannot remove it. So pretty much that's all about MLSLabs. In my case, I'm gonna use light version only if I'm gonna go with 4DGS. Now my main choice is NanoGS, but it only supports Ply right now. Hopefully soon SOG will be also supported. Installation here is quite simple. We just need to get the latest version of the plugin, go to releases, and here I'm gonna take it NanoGS E57, right? Download that zip, and in your project folder, you're gonna need to open that in Explorer and create a folder called plugins with capital P, and then just unzip that to the plugins folder. That's pretty much it. Now we're gonna go to Unreal Engine, restart it, and you must be able to go to plugins and find this NanoGS, which we're gonna need to activate. That's pretty much it. And now you can go to your project, hit import, and just select any Ply file, and it will be imported as a Gaussian splatting actor like this. And you can drag and drop it to the scene, which look amazing. So NanoGS is definitely easier to start with. In terms of performance, I did some research, but both MLC and Nano claim that they're gonna render like millions of splats on 60 FPS, but my honest conclusion that trying to render more than 10 million is still a bottleneck because no streaming format is yet supported in Unreal Engine. But when you test it on like some objects and optimized environments, it actually worked very smooth, which I'm gonna show you soon, and I generated quite a lot of splats for this video. Now before we move to generation splats and how to run that stuff locally, let's cover one more important thing, is tooling around it. As mentioned, in Unreal Engine it's only supported like Ply, Maximum, SOG, but in reality we do have like more formats like SPZ, some streamed, SOG, etc. You might need to convert them back and forth, optimize, or even sometimes you want to clean up that splat that you get from somewhere, like cut a part of the splat. Well, for that we're gonna need Splat Transform CLI, which is an amazing tool to process anything, including creating the collision. So basically, if you have Node installed in your system, you can install Splat Transform just in one line. ChatGPT gonna guide you through that stuff, and here you can convert multiple formats. That's first thing, and also create colliders, which is very needed when you work with objects generated somewhere. So let's say we're gonna use TripoSplat, and I generated some car, and I want to add the collision in Unreal Engine to that splat. So basically, I'm gonna open PowerShell in the folder where I have my splats, and the command will look something like this. Again, like all that with help of ChatGPT, it gonna help you to do the commands, and you just need to run that command inside folder with PowerShell or CMD. The process is quite simple, and we have this collision.glb created, which we can actually bring to Unreal Engine right away. This looks like mesh, and you can see here how it looks, and here's the car. We're gonna use it as a collision, use complex collision as simple, then position it in same position as our splat, and in Unreal Engine a setting called actor hidden in the game, check. So now we can actually test it out, and the collision actually works. That is true for any sort of splats, both worlds and objects. And one more thing that might be very useful for you do is to edit splats. So for this, I can recommend Splats editor, which is here, and you can import here any splat. Let's upload the strawberry. Here we can see it works right in your browser, very convenient. And there's plenty of tools to edit some stuff. So let's say we do have some stuff to remove, and yeah, we can do some lasso and stuff and press delete, and then that's how we clean up, right? That's with splats. It's very different from classical 3D, right? I did not tested all the tools, but it seems not difficult to work with. So again, if you generate something with Tripo or any other tool, just bring it here, cut some stuff that you don't need. You will not be able to do that in Blender as per now. So for me, this editor is like the easiest choice. And now when you are well prepared to work with splats, where do we actually get it and how do we generate it? So to get them, there are quite a lot of websites such as Splat again, where there are free splats that you can actually bring into a game if it's not cross-licensed. Together with Splat Transform, so let's say I like this location, I want to use it, I can download it here, process it with Splat Transform. Here you can see I created this collider and I can actually run it in my game. And this look quite cool. Of course, the quality there depends on how good the environment is scanned. And yes, some do quite an amazing job. But of course, you always need something specific for your case. And here we have two great options. For world generation, this is a Hunyuan World 2, and for object generation is a TripoSplat. Both models you can actually run locally or go to the website and generate for free, which I did in Hunyuan 3D. So Hi World 2.0 is released under Apache license. They pretty much released all the codes and all the checkpoints, the models basically. So if you have strong GPU, you can run it locally as well. It seems that the minimum requirement is 24 GB. Well, TripoSplat is way easier to use and it requires only 8 GB of VRAM, which I used locally. And what's even better, for TripoSplat, it's natively supported in ComfyUI, so we can just install ComfyUI latest version and it will be there already. We'll just need to install dependencies. So let's start with works. You can go to Chinese version of the website, and on the main page there's 3D world model here, which we're gonna use. So the process here looks simple. We just need an image of the location and it will generate. Note the generation here can take up to 20 minutes or in some cases even more, because what it creates is not only the location, but it also creates the collider. And this is actually a cool thing about generation. Colliders generated here are cleaner. Paid alternative to Hunyuan World is Marble, which you might know also called like Marble World Labs. You can do some generation for free and they also generate GLB, but in my opinion, Hunyuan is definitely not worse or maybe even better in some cases. So I generated few images with ChatGPT such as Cyberpunk City, the Lucid mushroom stuff, some desert area, etc. Let's give it a try. Here you can see the final results in Hunyuan, and I'm gonna download ply file and the collision, simply importing that in Blender together with the collision, putting collision as a hidden in-game actor, and here we go. This is all with NanoGS and you can see the results are quite amazing. I would not even imagine that will be so smooth so fast. And here you can see another scene, which is a cyberpunk dark neon city, and we also can run around. You can also see some artifacts when I run somewhere. There is like some blurriness. This is because of transparent splats that need to be cleaned. So the farther you go from the main location, the more artifacts, of course. So this is basically how Splat works, right? They do not now generate the whole location around, but there also might be some solution for that. Probably there are another tools how to make bigger location, but for now yet it's a little bit limited in terms of world because it will generate mostly the area from where the camera goes. And Hunyuan, if you don't know, like it works that it creates first the panorama and then creates the splatting. But in my opinion, as an environment option, again, like it has some shape and it differs from different angles, this is quite amazing. And I even tried to create some smaller areas where I can add additional objects that we're gonna generate with TripoSplats. For me, this is so excited. That was really fun to play with. Now let's generate some objects with TripoSplat. If you don't want to bother with ComfyUI, by the way, you can go to Hugging Face demo and test it out here. It works very fast. Imagine this generated just in 10 seconds. Okay, so what you're gonna need is latest version of ComfyUI. I do have this latest version already installed, and we're gonna need to go to templates templates and just search for TripoSplat. Here we have this template already here. So there might be some dependencies or nodes missing that you need to install. Please do that. That's quite easy right now. Then in formats, we're gonna need to select ply. There are some additional settings, and here are the results. In this case, I use 1590 and generation takes around 1 minute. And just in a second, I can drop it on Unreal Engine and play with it. And to be honest, it's quite optimized if you're not going crazy into millions of splats. And to test it out, I iterated a whole bunch of splats, around 30 parts. And let's import them all into one level, drag and drop them, and see how it gonna work. And it looks quite good. To be fair, when the camera was capturing all of them at once, you can see the FPS was actually dropping. So I think right now, doing everything just with splats will require some optimization. So first of all, when you generate splat, you can control the amount of Gaussians that you do, and the lower you go, of course, the easier it will be for GPU to render. Overall, if you're gonna keep your scene below 1 million total splats, most likely you will not experience any issues. And here you can see that 32,000, that doesn't look that bad. Look pretty good compared to 262, especially if that's gonna be just environment object. But the possibilities are just insane. This looks so cool. Another important thing that I figured out when I was doing this research is that developers of this plugin, of NanoGS specifically, he do not recommend to create one big object because they will not be processed in the culling. The culling is when we hide some objects that are not in frame right now to not render them and keep it easier, right? So one big splat object is very difficult to render compared to objects separate into parts. But I really hope soon enough we're gonna support streamed splats, or maybe some LOD for splats gonna be supported in Unreal Engine natively or with plugins. But even now, I think it is already applicable for some games. It can add some magic. Again, splats are static by themselves, but they transfer information in different way, in very realistic way. So I was really looking for this day to touch it up, try to use it on some real case. Steph, as usual, drop the comment, like and subscribe, and I see you in the next one.